Hola, everybody. I'm sure you're almost sick of me for today. We have been having a lot of fun, a lot of luck, getting some people very eager and excited to come and talk to us. Today, I don't know if the last or one of the last interviews that we are going to do today, I have the amigo Amit,
Right.
who asked us and was very excited to come to talk about us. A champion today in this conference, or well, in these days of the conference. Amit, welcome. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you. Thank you so much.
First of all, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? I know
Right.
that you came to present and there were many other surprises, but what's the deal with Amit?
Right. So, hi, I'm Amit Deshpande. I represent Kairos, which is one of the seamless cloud native platforms for testing of web, mobile, and APIs and all your business processes. And I did a talk here today about how we can look at testing as a PaaS, a platform as a service, and why is it more than ever important that we look at it that way, especially in a context where a lot of apps are getting connected, a lot of apps are highly integrated, organizations are getting connected, businesses are getting connected. So it's important that the testing also needs to be connected. So, and
Mhm.
how you can achieve that using a PaaS approach. And we did a talk on that today. So it's been
Okay.
fun the last 3 days at Star West. So looking forward to this discussion as well.
Was it just a talk what you gave or also a workshop?
No, it was a concept about PaaS that I explained using Kairos, because Kairos
Okay.
itself is a platform on the cloud, which precisely does
As a
this
talk
as a talk. Yes, yes.
or workshop? One.
No, it was a talk,
Okay.
and then we had set up a live demo booth that you
Hmm.
could come and build a test, run it on our platform and see it and try it for yourself.
So, um, you stepped ahead a little bit. I was gonna ask about your talk. What
Mm.
was it about? But now
Yeah.
we have that covered. But personally,
Mhm.
what is your role in Kairos?
Right.
What do you do? What is your
Right.
practice?
Yeah. So I head the platform engineering. So I'm responsible for building of the product, um, certain aspects about product management as well. So, and
Mhm.
I've been in the testing space from last 18 years now,
Wow.
doing various things. And I was part of HSBC group for around 8 years, doing testing of various applications. And that was my first interaction with SaaS. And I always felt that most of the applications are now dependent on services,
Hmm.
and there has to be a very different way of how we test services, because they're all connected out of the box. And it's no longer just about your own application, but it's also about how you talk to other applications, and how do all these applications come together to execute a business process. So it's that connected testing is what drove me, and hence, we built Kairos as this one seamless platform, which helps you do all of the stuff and more. So I'm responsible for building that, so to speak.
So I was gonna ask that as well. Like, what's the key differentiator? What is the special,
Hmm.
if you wanna say, spice that
Yeah,
makes
yeah,
Kairos different, or what is
right.
the core of it?
Yeah. So I think we are the only. So first of all, we are codeless. So we you don't have to write any code. And as I said, we test web, mobile, and APIs, business processes. We have our own device farm, which is we do not rely on other device providers and cloud providers, because there are certain aspects. So we call ourselves a device farm, which is very custom in nature.
Hmm.
So which where customers can bring their own devices. So imagine, like, you see all the device farms giving out mobile devices, tablets, iPads, and browsers, but nobody gives you a POS machine or a point of sale machine that you if you are running, let's say, an e-commerce shop, and somebody comes, like, you're in the business of building these POS which runs on Android, so, or iOS or something like that, like what you have in Square or Stripe and some of those terminals. So you can technically bring those devices to us, and we can host them for you,
Interesting.
right? So that's why we call it as, I mean, although we have not hosted point of sale machines in the past, but we have ability to host custom devices that some of our clients may have, right? But again, I think the biggest differentiator, what I feel, is that we are the only all in one platform.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, typically when you look at testing today, so let's say you as an enterprise have a mobile app, you have a few APIs, you have some web applications, you have some databases, and so on and so forth. And you see, so if you have a web app, you probably have a Selenium based implementation somewhere. Then you have a mobile app, you go to Appium or something else. For to get the devices, you go to some other, you know cloud-based device and infrastructure provider. For browsers, you might go to AWS. So you see, most of the time is spent in sort of bringing all these tools together and sort of orchestrate them. So, and then these are all these moving parts that sometimes do not work well. So
Mm-hmm.
what you need is a cohesive, single, unified platform which can seamlessly work for you. I think that's the biggest differentiator, is what I strongly believe in, which is you come into Kairos and you go out with test results. You do not need any other tool to do any of your testing or for your any other testing need. So I think that's one. And the second thing is also some of the aspects that we are coming up with, and we have started releasing some of those which are AI based. Now, here's the thing. So we have been in existence, and we have a lot of clients in the fintech space. We count multiple clients here in US, and we have clients in UK and some of the other regions. So our AI journey, so we never started with saying that this is an AI powered tool from day one. So what we essentially said is that we waited for a lot of data getting generated on Kairos. We did not release any AI features up to, we have been in operation since last close to 2 years now, and then now is the time when the AI features are coming out, right?
Okay.
So we do not promise to be that magic solution that a lot of people start saying from word go, that we are AI powered or AI will help you do that and this. But we have now started rolling out features, and one of them, so which is a very common feature that we have heard a lot, is healing of the tests, right? The flakiness and the healing challenge. Now, so we are the only patented healing solution in this industry.
Okay.
So while a lot of products talk about auto healing, but we are the only ones who are patented on that. And the difference is that a lot of people rely for healing on predictions, like,
Mm-hmm.
say, okay, maybe this is the new locator, and we are 50% confident that this is a locator that you want to try and it's going to fix your test. We don't give confidence scores. We give you precisely what is the solution.
Mm-hmm.
So, and many other things. So we are also launching our own world's first digital QA assistant, um, and many more things which are designed for collaboration and things like that. So yeah, I think being seamless, all in one platform, our patented healing technologies, and being codeless, and being on cloud, and being accessible anytime, anywhere. I think all of this makes us a pretty powerful platform.
It's pretty interesting because there are some elements that you mentioned that truly I haven't heard elsewhere on other solutions or platforms.
Mm,
Like when you mentioned particular POS
mm,
implementations
right,
or
right,
devices platforms
right.
like integrations with Square
Yeah.
and things that isn't that like borderline Internet of Things that you're testing?
Yeah, I mean, so we do not go out and say that we can host these terminals, but what we're essentially saying is, I'll give an example of, one of our clients is into the logistics space. They're a pretty big operator, and they have custom Android
Devices.
devices which which is given to every single truck driver out there who is driving trucks on the highways. And they have a pretty big operation, big testing team in India,
Mm-hmm.
and they used to ship these tablets back to India. Like, every time there's an upgrade, they used to ship these tablets.
Oh wow.
And and when COVID hit, it was very hard to ship anything, and then these tablets used to typically get stuck in customs,
Oh yeah.
right? And then say, okay, and then the whole process of the testing process would get delayed. So what did we do? So they gave us, so we have our data centers in US, in Chicago. We are headquartered out of Chicago, and in UK, and in India. So, and then the client's testing team is sitting in India. So we put up these devices in our US farm or our data center, and the whole world, wherever the testing teams are, they could use these custom tablets which are only available in US. So what we're essentially saying is, these custom devices which
Mm-hmm.
are running Android or iOS based hardware are something that we can host on our device farm, because it is again a custom device farm. So
Customizable.
custom, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
customizable. And what we say is, this is customization is over and above all the other features that you typically get with a device farm. So I mean, we have hundreds of devices, hundreds of browsers, so you can get those anyway.
Hmm.
But in addition to that, you have this option of customization where you can host your own devices as well. So that sort of makes us very different from the rest of the device and browser providers out there.
That's quite impressive because I often see limitations on some of that,
Yeah,
especially as you say, it's I have heard it's been a headache, especially for Google, that having that many sizes, versions,
yeah,
flavors,
yeah, yeah,
um, and especially since they don't force the users to like you move to this version of Android or it won't ever work again, or
yeah,
you
yeah,
and it's interesting that you provide that flexibility, that
yeah,
opportunity
yeah,
to do the custom things and weird
yeah,
things that
yeah,
some customers want to do.
yeah.
Do you have any other interesting examples like that? What you're mentioning with
Yeah,
India?
I think the other area I would say is our API testing solutions.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a suite of API solutions. Right from, so we believe in what we call as an API lifecycle testing. So typically you do functional testing, and then by the way, probably we are one of the very few codeless API testing solutions out there, like absolutely codeless.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, from zero, from no test on your API to at least 10 tests in 10 minutes, right? So that's the promise that we provide. And which is, when I say 10 tests, what I'm essentially saying is the breadth of coverage, in the sense it's not just like, you fire an API and then you get a 200 and you say, okay, if the response code is equal to 200, then pass the test. No, we're saying way deeper than that. And it's all codeless, number one. And so if you look at the way we look at API as more like a life cycle testing as opposed to just looking at it as a functional testing. So what I mean by that is it's extremely easy to bring your APIs on board onto Kairos, because we support things like Swagger, or even if you use Postman today or your developers use Postman, you can always get those Postman collections imported into Kairos. So
Mm-hmm.
all you need to do is just add your assertions and start running your tests. So it's as simple as that. But so we support assertions on headers. You can write JSON path assertions, you can do your contract testing, schema validation, all of this without code, number one. Number two, and where it gets interesting, is you can take the same functional test and convert it into a performance test without adding a single configuration change. So you take something that was a functional test, and then you say bring it into performance and just use a slider to just slide it to increase the number of concurrent threads. Like you say, hit this API with 10,000 for 10,000 users or 10,000 concurrent sessions. Hit run, and then because we are hosted on cloud, we scale, and then we fire these API requests and then give you good enough performance metrics that you can try and gauge the performance. And keep in mind, we are doing this in parallel with functional tests. So which means that we are by default enabling a shift left kind of approach for performance testing. So it's classic shift left performance testing. Now, it gets even more interesting. We can take multiple of these APIs that you have individually built tests for and then stitch them together in a single provider, single consumer, or a single provider, multiple consumer kind of scenario, and then run them like a business process and then scale them up. And again, without having to add any sort of configuration. So it all began with very easily build a API test under 10 minutes. That sort of kicks off this chain of things that you can do without really spending any effort on doing either a process test, as we call it, like an end-to-end API process test and performance test, and all of this is by default CI compliant. So we have native plugins for all the popular DevOps platforms out there, so you can just connect them and then run all of this, and you hardly need. And then there's virtualization as well. So that's our
Mm-hmm.
first codeless virtualization solution, and we took a slightly different approach to virtualization. So a lot of tools focus on recording transactions, where you say you pass something through a proxy, and then it sniffs the transaction and then says, okay, now take off the main API, and then the proxy starts responding. But that's not what we took. What we really wanted to give is flexibility to testing teams.
Mm-hmm.
Like imagine, I would like to control that if there is a customer, if a request for with customer A comes to the server, it'll add 100-second delay before it sends back. If it is
Hmm.
customer B, it's going to add no delay, right? And then if it's customer C, it's going to violate a schema and then send something back.
Hmm.
So we are essentially giving testing teams ability to build APIs without any code, which
Yeah.
are also which support CRUD operations. So these are not stubs which keep sending you the same thing again and again, but these can actually take something in and then update themselves.
I'm gonna pose an interesting question for you because it has been a challenge at times, and
Hmm.
I at times even have advocated against that using functional tests for
Yes,
load and performance
performance
testing.
tests. Uh-huh.
Uh, and I do agree on APIs may be a different story because
Hmm. Hmm.
it's not the same as traditional
Hmm.
functional end-to-end tests that we were doing.
Right.
Um, any twists that you require to do on this to make a functional test truly usable as a performance or load test?
Yeah, I think there's only one change, which is your number of concurrent the number of concurrent user load that you want to trigger should be the amount of test data that needs to be supplied.
Okay, yeah, when
Right. So
there's
that's
test
that's
data
that's the only
dependencies,
thing.
right?
Yeah, that's I think there's nothing else that we need to do as far as the test is concerned. Now, whether your infrastructure supports it or not, that's something that we leave it to our clients. And the other thing that we always do is we never mark these tests as passed or failed. We
Hmm.
say
No, and
because we
performance
don't,
is hard to
yeah,
say.
yeah, we don't know what the size of your environment is and what kind of setup you're running it on. So we leave it to them. So we give them enough metrics for them to decide whether it was under limits or was it over the limits as far as things like response times, latency, and throughput go.
Really interesting. Yeah, and there are some adjustments that are critical,
Yeah,
as you very well say,
yeah,
that we have to do. Maybe I would say also remove functional validations probably that is
exactly.
happening,
Yes.
and many more details that
Yeah,
sadly we're getting close to the ramp down
yeah,
period.
yeah.
And to give you last 30 minutes, 30 seconds, sorry,
Hmm.
what would you like to tell the audience and the people?
Hmm.
Any message, anything that you would like to tell?
Yeah. So I would say, we are one of the best API testing solutions out there, and we are the only seamless end-to-end testing platform. We call ourselves a platform and not a product. There's
Hmm.
a huge difference. We are very focused on collaboration of ideas, collaboration of tests, collaboration of lessons learned, because it's a connected world. It's all the apps are connected, everything is connected out of the box, so testing cannot be done in isolation. So
Um,
you know
yeah, so
sorry, so testing cannot be done in isolation. So we believe that a unified platform is what is really essential for all the teams across an enterprise, across organizations, to come on this unified platform where they can share ideas in the form of sharing tests, sharing data, sharing their lessons learned, sharing their knowledge, and having fun while doing testing. So come try Kairos out. So
that's what's going to be my follow-up question. Where can people find more about Kairos and about you? Where can they get in touch with
yeah,
you?
so I'm on LinkedIn, and I'll also be sharing the presentation, the talk that I did today, which is precisely what I just mentioned about.
Where are you going to be
Um,
sharing it?
it's going to be on the TechWell portal, I believe.
Okay,
It's available for download, I think, for people who have access to it. But if not, I'll be putting it on my LinkedIn as well.
great.
I hope which will be tagged to this video. And um, yeah, I think for Kairos, you can always go to kairos.com, sign up. We have a 30-day free trial.
Oh,
So
wow.
don't believe what I say. Just come try the platform out. And it's a no holds bar trial. You can do pretty much try for yourself all the things we just spoke about, and really experience the power of the seamless platform and testing.
Awesome. Amit, thank you very
Thank
much
you so
to
much.
coming
Yeah.
and telling us about Kairos. Everyone, that's Amit. That was Kairos. Hope it sounded interesting. And I think with that, we are going to be calling it a day. I'm starting to think that looking at the time, we need to deal some PS5 situation that probably everyone is on the edge of their seats waiting to see what will happen. So stay tuned. We're going to start the true ramp down for the whole Star West 2022 event. And amigo Amit, thank you very much
Thank
again.
you very much.
Uh, Goodbye, everybody. Time to end